right, today we're going to continue on with transformations of functions. So we'll do horizontal and vertical stretches and shrinks, and we're not going to do this composition of absolute values. So stretching and shrinks. Here, this is your vertical. So again, vertical affects the whole equation. So you have a value outside your function, and then horizontal affects just the x, so it's inside your function. Vertical stretching is by a factor of a, so whatever your value is, a, you want to multiply y by that. Horizontal stretches and shrinks is by a factor of 1 over a. So if you have, say, a factor of 1/2, then you're going to plug in 2 right there. Okay, so here we want to transform this function 2 different times. So first we want a vertical stretch by the factor of 5. So that applies to the whole function. So you're going to take 5 times x cubed plus 4x minus 1, and then just distribute that through. So you get 5x cubed plus 20x minus 5, and that's your answer. For B, you have a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/2. So it's going to affect the x part, and you need to flip it so you get times 2 instead of times 1/2. And then each x needs to be replaced with 2x. Like that. And we can simplify. We'll get 8x cubed plus 8x minus 1. And that's your answer. Okay, so now we have a function. We want to figure out what was the basic original function from our 12 basic functions, and then what transformations happened to give us this function. So we have a cube right here. So your original was x cubed. And then I have to list what we did. So out here, that's a vertical stretch. So you have a vertical stretch by 4. As a note, stretches are greater than 1 and shrinks are less than 1. So if it's a fraction, then it's a shrink. If it's a stretch, then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, not negative, only positive. Then we have this right here. So this would be a horizontal. And before we do stretch or shrink, you want to think of what the a is. If we're dividing by 2, that means we're really doing a factor of 2. So it's going to be a stretch by 2 because you're dividing by 2. And then the last one is down 3. All right, going the other direction. So now we have the basic graph, or the basic function is x squared, and you want to say, what does it become? When you go left 3 units, a vertical stretch by a factor of 2, and then you shift down 1 unit. So you want to do these in order. So I'm going to say this is 1, 2, and 3. If you do it out of order, you're going to get a different answer. So I'll show you that later. But first we want to go left 3 units. This is in with the x. So this is 1. We go left, that's like you are adding. So that's our left 3 units. Next, we're doing a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. So you want to apply to the entire function. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by 2. And then down 1 unit, we'll subtract 1. Okay, so a note, this is what not to do. If you do it out of order, so if we do 1, 3, and then 2, it's going to give us a different answer. So if we do 1 first, we still have this. And then if you do 3 and subtract first, we'll get x plus 3, and then minus the 1. And then the last step is we're going to do our vertical stretch. We have to apply to the whole function. So you'd end up getting 2x plus 3 squared minus 2. So this would be different than this one. So make sure you do it in order. I'll move that up so you guys can see, like that. Otherwise you end up with the wrong thing. All right, last thing is graphing. So we want to sketch this graph. It gives us f of x, and then we have 3 transformations here. So you want to do transformations kind of order of operations. So we have our parentheses first. So you want to do this part first. So the first one is left 1. So I'm going to take each point, so take this point and move it left 1, move it left 1 to get this chunk. And I'll take this point and move it left 1, this point and move it left 1. Get like this. And the same thing here. Like that. All right, next thing we're going to do is multiplication. So we have a vertical stretch by 2. What do you do this is multiply each of your y values by 2. So for example, right here, this is at the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 6, 1. So I'm going to take this 1 and multiply by 2, and we'd get 6, 2. And I go right there. This y value right here is 0, so it's just going to stay 0. We're at negative 1 right there, so times 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And then negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. 0 is 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then this would be 3 times 2 is going to be 6, so way up here. And then you can connect those dots like that. And then the very last thing to do is this down 3. So I'm going to take each of these points and move them down 3. And you get this. So as a note, you can do all of these steps all at once if you want to. I recommend doing them separately so you can kind of keep track of what's going on. Make sure you label your final answer so I know what your answer is. Otherwise, it gets kind of complicated. You're welcome to use different colors, colored pencils, but that would be your final answer. That is it for today, so check on Schoology for your homework assignment. And that's it.